Alright, hello everyone and welcome to AEW Discussion. I'm your host and AEW enthusiast, Dougie Doug. In today's episode, I'm going to be discussing Dynamite July 19th, 2023 edition. And not just any episode of Dynamite, no, ladies and gentlemen, this is the special edition, Blood and Guts 2023 edition. And this edition of Blood and Guts would feature the Golden Elite reuniting and taking on the Blackpool Combat Club. And with that, we'll go ahead and get right into the action, starting with an FTW Championship to start, or a FTW Championship match to start the show, and Jack Perry is now the FTW Champion. So the heat was there for Perry, and the reaction to his victory indicates that the crowd has accepted him in the role of a bad guy, even as he continues to find himself in that role. The match was well booked as Perry gave Hook what was his toughest test to date, and then to really hammer home his new persona, Perry picked up the victory in a rather cliche way. Referee goes down, challenger lays out champion with belt, and cue the victory for the challenger. His celebratory "I told you so" after the win, in reference to his vow to be a champion by the end of 2023 was great. Hook sold the finish well and really embraced the good guy role, fighting from underneath and thriving on the crowd's reaction. The chemistry between these two is there, and it looks like AEW is considering a rematch, which, you know, hey, I'm all for that. Let these two cook. They certainly did here, although it does raise an interesting question of, in a rematch, who would win that rematch? Do you play hot potato with the title and put it back on Hook, and or do you let Jack Perry go 2 over on Hook, a guy who had previously not lost a singles match, I don't think. Interesting decision. Then you had the finals of the Blind Eliminator Tag Team Tournament match. Adam Cole and MJF picking up the win, and they will challenge FTR for the AEW Tag Team titles. I don't remember what episode of Dynamite that is, but yeah, I think it is coming up shortly. And what started with a dance-off that may or may not have been unnecessary, developed into a strong match that highlighted the growing friendship between Cole and MJF and their influence on each other. Now, MJF played his role great here, the over-the-top good guy, thriving on the cheers of the fans that, well, he could have had before but opted not to receive, and this time around he opted to receive them, feeding on the cheers, and only after did Cole hold the AEW Championship in his hands and kind of look it over, did he momentarily revert to his old ways. Now the tension is still there, and Cole still longs to be the world champion in AEW. It will and in the end, when these two inevitably lose the tag team title match, we'll be very curious to see who turns on who, and when that happens, ultimately the fans in AEW will no longer have what has been an unexpectedly great mismatched tag team, but that should help elevate the rivalry more than a straightforward one-on-one storyline would have. The post-match showdown at FTR made that match feel like a big deal, and given the talent involved, it should be a banger of a match. And then you have Blood and Guts to conclude the show, the Golden Elite versus the Blackpool Combat Club. And now, there are going to be some varying opinions about the match and, how it played out. Fans of the Golden Elite and all the history associated with that particular faction will most likely have liked this match because it highlighted the group and also featured their reunion. It was yet another chapter in the story of the Golden Elite. Fans who do not mind the violent deathmatch style wrestling probably enjoyed the blood, nails, glass, thumbtacks, tables, and chains that helped define this match. In between the violence-fueled spots, there was not much story-wise. Omega and Castiglione started the match, and it is a shame that in the course of this feud between the Elite and the BCC that there was not a one-on-one match between Castiglione and Omega. That would have been a banger of a match right there. And then, well, once the second man got involved, it pretty much kind of descended, and then as more competitors came out, I should say, it descended into chaos. And once all the competitors were in there, it was pretty much a collection of, can you top this violence until the finish, where Yuta was choked out by a steel chain. Now the name of this match is Blood and Guts, and complaining about the violent content might seem pointless. However, there is a valid argument to be made that, given that these two factions are engaged in anarchy in the arena, kind of makes them fighting in Blood and Guts seem like an excessive way to end this feud. But then again, I mean, if it wasn't these two in Blood and Guts, who would you have had? I can't really think of another story that would have fit this type of match. So maybe this was an excessive way to end the feud, but I didn't really see too big of a problem with this being the way to end this feud. There's also another argument to be made that too much of something can fail to leave the impression that one hoped for. After all, there was an exploding sneaker in that Anarchy in the Arena match, a spot that certainly was more creative and memorable than anything shown here, unless you want to count that spot with unless you want to count that bed of nails as memorable, which I'd rather not remember the bed of nails. Hopefully, though, this is the conclusion of this feud, because really, where do you go from here? Nowhere. I mean, there's nowhere to go. And with that said, now Pac and Takeshita did walk out, and perhaps something comes of that. Maybe, maybe not. I guess we shall see. Yeah, see what happens to those two, if anything. In conclusion, main event aside, this was the second consecutive good episode of Dynamite. Hogan and Perry had a better than expected match for the FTW title at the start of the show that could serve as the foundation for a feud between two young stars, while the MJF Cole storyline continues to be the best in AEW. Blood and Guts was as advertised, and the debut of Ibishi felt like a big deal. The question will be how quickly can the company come out of this show and shift the focus to All In and even All Out, as those two shows have the potential to be significant to the short and long-term futures of the company, and delivering a focused creative effort is certainly key, especially for All In. Thus far, it appears as though Tony Khan knows where he wants to go, what top stories, and hopefully that focus remains intact, because the month of July has featured some of the best episodes of Dynamite in company history. And with that, we'll go and wrap up this episode of AEW Discussion. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to hit that like button down below.